We're drinking Oakville Cab, so I have the grill going out in the courtyard, and we're gonna grill up some spiced lamb leg, make some flatbread, and a nice little minty cucumber yogurt to go with it. First, we're gonna make our flatbread. So I have 3/4 of a cup of warm water here. And this flatbread recipe, we're gonna make a sponge first and then fold in all the flour. To the water, we'll add 2 teaspoons of yeast. We'll sprinkle over the top. And we'll add a 1/2 teaspoon of sugar. And now a 1/4 cup of both whole wheat flour and a 1/4 cup of all-purpose. And then we'll just whisk this up and leave this to get nice and foamy for about 10 minutes. And in the meantime, we can work on our lamb marinade. So whenever possible, it's best to use whole spices that you toast and grind up yourself. So I'm gonna toast up some coriander seed, fennel seed, and cumin. You just wanna toast them until you can smell them. You don't want them to get color or anything. Smells good. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out and put it into our mortar and pestle. And we'll pound it. Add a little pinch of salt. We'll set our spices aside and we can finish our flatbread. It's looking nice and foamy, kind of thicker. And we'll add 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a teaspoon of salt. And that will throw right on top of the flour so it doesn't interact too much with the yeast at this point. And once it's mostly together, we'll add in our yogurt, which will give it a nice tang and moisture. So now we'll add a 1/4 cup of yogurt to this. We'll knead it for about 2 minutes, let it rest for 10 to allow the gluten to relax, and then knead it for 2 more minutes before we let it rise. It's mostly all one nice looking dough. I'll cover it with plastic so it doesn't dry out. Get these spices out of here and then we can build the rest of the marinade. We're gonna pound 1 big clove of garlic in here with some fresh oregano from the garden, maybe some green coriander seeds. Give this garlic a rough chop. And put a pinch of salt in there, and then pound this to a paste. Now we'll grab some oregano and green coriander seeds. We have a real good aromatic experience happening right now. We're going hard on the herbs and spices right here. Here's all of our ground cumin, coriander, fennel. Add that. A good big spoonful of turmeric. It's probably like a tablespoon. Olive oil. Here's some chili that I toasted and ground up. I'm gonna add a little water to that and make a little paste. Mix that a little bit and then we'll add our chili. Our marinade is smelling so good. So we'll set that aside and we'll do our last round of kneading for the flatbread. And after this kneading, you can either put it in the fridge overnight. I'm just gonna do it in the bowl. Or leave it out for 2 hours if you wanna do it same day. So now we'll put this into an oiled bowl, kind of roll it around in there, and leave it, or cover it with plastic and leave it to rise for a few hours. Okay, now we'll get our lamb all marinated. This is 1 lamb leg that's been butterflied, so boned out. I think I'm just gonna cut it into smaller pieces and then we'll spice it all up. When we're grilling it, we want to get like a lot of good char and seasoning on the outside and then be able to slice it thinly. So we want like medium-sized chunks. So I'm gonna season it with salt separately, then you have real control over how much salt you're using. Okay, then let's get our spices all up in here. This looks very schmutzy, but it's gonna be delicious. This you could do if you can plan a day in advance, would be ideal. So then you really get all those seasonings to absorb. A few hours is fine too. So now we'll set this aside and make our yogurt. This is a Greek yogurt. It's really thick, which is what you want. And we'll probably need 2 of these, but I'm gonna grate them. I'm gonna grate them into here. We're gonna grate the cucumber and salt it and then squeeze out all the extra liquid. If you don't do that, your yogurt will be really thin and runny. You can save these cucumbers for your spa water. I'm just gonna salt this a little bit and that'll, you know, help release all that liquid. So just a few pinches. And then just set that aside and let it kind of juice out. When making a garlic yogurt, it's always good to err on like the lighter side because garlic in the fat of the yogurt will really bloom. So you can always add more later. Can't take it away. We'll microplane that. Okay, garlic and then some mint. Pick a bunch of mint and chop it. Okay, we'll add this mint. And mint is an herb that oxidizes really quickly, like basil. Parsley doesn't. So you want to get it in the yogurt as quickly as possible so it doesn't turn brown. Now we can squeeze out our cucumbers. You'll be shocked at the amount of water it releases. And then we'll rough chop it and add it to our yogurt. Depending on the acidity of the yogurt, we'll probably want to add some lemon, but let's taste it first and see where we are. Yum. Some salt, and then maybe half a lemon. That's good though. We're there. Yeah. Let's roll out our flatbreads. This has risen and is at room temperature. Now we're gonna cut this into 6 pieces. Same-ish sizes. So after you roll them into little balls, we'll toss them in flour so they don't stick. And now we'll clean up and head out to the grill. All right, let's check out how our coals are doing. Whew. Okay, so we're going to grill our lamb leg over the grates, and then the flatbread I'm thinking we can cook. You could cook it on the grates, but I want to put a little butter in there, so I'm gonna cook it in the cast iron. Some oil. All right, let's get our lamb on there. We're gonna grill it skin side down first, and then flip them. So I'm gonna find my biggest, thickest piece and put that closest to the fire, and then just work my way over to the cooler sides. Whew. Steven just harvested the first of our Jimmy Nardello peppers, so I'm just gonna throw those on. These are the most fun peppers. These are already getting quite a bit of color, so I'm gonna pull them back a little. I'm gonna flip these. Okay, now we'll start cooking our flatbread. See how our pan's doing. I have a little knob of butter here. Stretch this out. It's looking pretty good. So lay this down in here. Oh yeah. Flatbread's looking beautiful. Let's get these peppers off. Yum. I'm gonna pull all this lamb off and we'll let it rest for about 10 minutes before we slice it up. I'm just gonna cut these cherry tomatoes in half and we'll just keep them really simple. And then we'll slice up our lamb. I'm excited. This smells so good. Got a nice little pink. Mmm. Okay, let's plate some of this up. Get our flatbreads on there. Some of this beautiful lamb. And then a little dollop of the cucumber yogurt. And these tomatoes I'll toss with some olive oil and salt. Put those in there. Actually, let's throw some peppers in for fun. Tomato. We have dill, cilantro. Get a little oil on the bread. Yum. I want to eat that. Okay, let's make a bite. Let's see. Really want to get those spices in there. Just really getting it all. Mmm. It's really good. Those spices, nice and charred and smoky. And the creamy yogurt and tart tomato. It's delicious. So good.